You know, Palm Springs got kind of a late day call. It's kind of a strange one. Said it was on for about 4 hours and only pulled to 84 degrees.
Only pulled down to 84 degrees inside.
My suspicion is that maybe it hadn't ran at some point and then kicked on. And I kind of remembered the unit. It's nice and cold. But I'm thinking maybe the capacitor's kind of weak and that it didn't start right away and that we can spot. So I'm going to pull a wheel on this extra capacitor. Change the air filter inside as well.
Compressor felt too cold, and then this line here is usually so hot that it'll tattoo you.
My thought is also that it could be overcharged. It feels really cold, the compressor. So it could be one of those two things.
And most likely both.
Yeah, start with the capacitor, go from there. Yeah, it's a little bit cooler tonight, so that's good. I'm used to doing these when it's blazing hot. But anyway, pull the capacitor, and then pull the disconnect, and I'll discharge the capacitor, and then we're gonna disconnect just the common side. And this should be a 35. The capacitor is pretty hot, and the capacitor is a little bit bulged. So again, that suggests to me that maybe we've got a bad capacitor here.
Okay, yeah, so the capacitor tested out of phase, and it was like 32 microfarads. It's supposed to be 35 microfarads, so it definitely was out of phase. But unfortunately, I positioned the camera where I got you guys a really nice view of the back of my shoe. But I've showed you guys so many different capacitor videos that I didn't think you really needed to see me change another one. So I just changed the capacitor that bring things in phase, and then we can get after the recovery of the refrigerant charge, as that was too much. So I'll kind of show you the process and the troubleshooting. But you know, it's important that this timing of the capacitor be correct, because that's going to help the unit start properly, but it's also going to help it run properly. Also change the filter inside, so all those things to help get us accurate measurements so that we can adjust our charge properly.
2.3, yeah, we're out of phase. So the capacitor acts kind of like a timing thing for your car. It gives it the specific pulse pattern that the compressor wants to operate at. So we'll fire it up and see if it starts right up. Yeah, you guys probably couldn't see anything. I bet you I was in front of that whole thing, wasn't I? Oh my gosh. Yeah, nice shot of my back.
Back of my shoe.
Oh well, here goes. Let's see how it goes. Started right up, fan motor started right up, compressor started right up, good to go.
Compressor sounds odd though.
Compressor sounds a little chattery. This line should be really hot, and that makes me a little concerned as well. And I'm thinking our subcool's a bit off, so we may need to recover some refrigerant. I'm going to grab my gauges, I'm going to take some readings, I'm going to see where our subcool and superheat's at. Okay, so got my indoor wet bulb, 76.1, and now we're going to get our outdoor dry bulb, looking at 96.7, hit enter. We're looking for a target superheat of 29. I got a feeling we're going to be, when it's overcharged here. Well, time's going to tell, we're going to figure it out scientifically here. There's our high side. And you can hear our compressor doesn't sound very healthy. It doesn't sound very good to me. There's our high side. setting these vertical. We want the little deal on the clamp to read at the side of the pipe. Since refrigerant exists in two states, liquid and gas, we don't want to get all the liquid on the bottom of the pipe and all the gas on the top of the pipe. We want to get it in between. Okay. So I'm not hooking up my tank yet. I have a feeling I may need to recover some refrigerant, so it's going to be a little bit different today. And that's okay. Okay. Here's our low side. And it's a good idea to wear gloves at this point. We've got these disposable gloves. These work really good to prevent frostbite. Make sure all our lines are off. All our seals are closed here. Got my disposable glove there.
The blue suction line hose is going to go to the low side. That's the larger pipe, larger diameter pipe. The service valve.
PSI is at 78. That is a little high.
My units I'm usually seeing around 68.
You don't really get an accurate read until you get your high side, but
at least a more accurate reading.
Hook up my high side.
That's the red hose. That's the liquid side or the high side. It's got a lot more pressure. And it hooks up to the smaller size diameter service line, service valve. You hear the pressure going in. It's high pressure.
Here's the high side. Yeah, we're high. And we'll scroll over to our superheat. We're at 11.5. So we need to recover some refrigerant in order to lower our superheat. So I'm gonna go grab my recovery tank and we'll do that. Okay, so I got my recovery tank. We got our unit hooked up. You can see our superheat is too low. We need to raise it up, and we're overcharged. So we're gonna use the recovery tank and we're gonna recover into the suction side. And the way we're gonna do that is grab from the high side and bring it into the suction side. So we can go from the red side right into the suction side here. So hook it up. The gas is being pushed out as a pressure, and we're going to push it back into the tank. I'm going to open the tank. We're going to leave the low side closed off, and we're just going to open the high side. The tank's open. Before we do that, we're going to purge. This recovery tank already has about 6 pounds of refrigerant in it.
I mentioned that
So,
because if it had
it's a
pulled a
30-pound
vacuum on
tank.
it, the procedure for purging would be different. I'll show that in another
We
video.
need to purge on both sides. Whoops, more than I wanted. And that's why the gloves, look at that. Smoking.
Without the gloves, that might have been frostbite right there.
That's what I get for doing it one-handed, but it's also overcharged, and that's part of the symptom there. So you can still see our superheat. So now we're just going to open the high side and bring some into the tank. And you should be able to hear it a little bit go into the tank. And you should start also to see our superheat start to come up. So we're open and we're pulling some of that, recovering the refrigerant into the tank. And you can see the superheat start to climb. And we're going to bring it right to our 29. No big deal. Just kind of the reverse of charging. Nice. Palm Spring in the evening. Much nicer than in the day. What a difference. Trying to find a good spot for you guys. There we go. Water. You can see our PSI now is down to 68, and we actually don't get a real reading of our superheat until we turn it off, so I better stop there unless I need to turn around and charge it again. So I'm gonna hold it there. You hear our compressor sounds a little better, a little smoother.
If I had needed to recharge, I would have just needed to purge the low side. I didn't purge the low side because I didn't need to touch anything from that side as far as adding or removing refrigerant from the low side. So, but if I had wanted to charge from that side, I would need to purge.
I might have taken too much out, maybe not. We'll see. We'll scroll over to our
purging prevents moisture from getting in the
saturation
system.
temperature, or 32 degrees. That's a little too cold. So it looks like I took out a little bit too much.
Moisture, if it mixes with the refrigerant, can turn to an acid.
It still hasn't balanced, so I'll wait for it to balance. We want it to see it about 40. Our PSI should be about 68. That's just, you know, rule of thumb. It's actually looking pretty good. 25.6 on the superheat. Within 5 degrees, we're in tolerance. I think I'm going to be right on. The other thing is, once I detach my hoses, I'm going to recover the refrigerant that's in the high side hose. So that's going to adjust our superheat a little bit. In this instance, it's going to bring it down a little bit, but that'll bring the PSI up a little bit. So we're looking just like spot on now. Can't ask for much more than that. Sure, that's how you can recover refrigerant if you were overcharged. Really not that hard. Just a little different process. Oop, we reached temperature. At least we're off here. And actually we didn't reach temperature. Our compressor shut off. That's weird. I don't know, did you guys heard that, right? It wasn't just me. Compressor's cold. That was strange. I don't like that. There it goes. It's trying to start again. Compressor's trying to kick on. They probably got a bit of liquid slugging. I might actually turn it off for 5 minutes. And, well, you know, our target superheat was right there. So I'm happy with that. I'm pretty sure we're going to start just fine. We've got our new capacitor, but you know, it's been running in this condition overcharged for a while. You're trying to start there. But getting this charge just right where we've got it is going to help this in the future. It's going to help it start properly and not have such a hard time. There we go. And you can hear when it started, it's much nicer. Let's take an amp jar reading. I'm going to pull it over to amps, and you just want to get one wire in the clamp. So 10.9, it's not bad. The red wire, 9. We're all right there. That's good. This one's gonna live another day. Hey, it's freaking me out a little bit. That's okay. Now our high side line is hot, which is good. That line should be so hot you can hardly touch it. It'll tattoo you. What it's doing is able to get rid of the heat. If it was so much refrigerant and overcharged, then it's not able to shed the heat as much. So anyway, you can see our superheat here. Climbing up where we want it. This one was so spot on, I'm probably just gonna not recover the refrigerant from the high side hose. It's very likely I'm gonna need to charge again tomorrow, so. Yeah, look at our superheat, that is beautiful. Or like spot on. Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. And I could recover from my high side. Just so perfect right there. I don't want to. The other way is I could take another spot into the can, but you know what? I just don't want to mess it up, especially on this one after it went like that. It's just perfect. Alright, anyway, I'm probably going to need more of my refrigerant tomorrow anyway, so. Go ahead and detach my high side. Listen for any leaks. There's no leaks there. Look at that superheat. 29. 29.0. Okay, so I'll detach the low side. We're all set there. Go ahead and turn this off. Good to go. Yeah, listen for any leaking. Nothing's leaking there. Put our cap on. We're all set. Now we've got our nice, perfectly charged unit. Thanks for watching Kung Fu Maintenance. Happy 4th of July, you guys. Tomorrow's 4th of July. Today's July 3rd. It's almost too bad this didn't happen tomorrow. It would have been double time, but I'm just glad it was nice, cool day. Really cool. So, and we're all fixed. Thanks for watching. Kung Fu Maintenance. Over and out. Yeah, that's how to recover refrigerant if you were overcharged.